We have here exclusively Justin Baldoni speaking to what he called his dream team, those who had been helping him edit the films and get it to finality, lamenting the fact that he was put in the basement on the premiere of his own movie, he says, per Blake's demands. Take a listen to that voice text in part.
Think about this on what, could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise. I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast. So they ushered me off the carpet and they sent us down to the basement. We were down there together, my friends and family, the people that love me the most. And we start laughing because of the ridiculousness of this whole thing. And I realized, on a night that was supposed to be so materialistically joyful, and I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light and love.
Justin Baldoni may be staying quiet publicly, but his lawyer? Oh, he's done playing nice. He just came out swinging, and now Blake Lively is staring down a massive lawsuit that has the internet in absolute chaos. But don't think Blake is backing down. She's firing right back. Even though the spotlight is probably the last thing she wants right now, that here's the wildest part, Blake launched this legal drama herself. But insiders swear she never intended for it to actually reach a courtroom. That tiny detail flips this entire story upside down, and the twists just keep rolling in. This feud is way messier than anyone expected, and the more that comes out, the more jaw-dropping it gets. Buckle up, because the tea is about to spill in every direction.
In the basement with the people that I love the most, and we were all joyful and laughing because none of that shit matters. None of it. That's not why we're in the business. That's not why the three of us are in this business, is to attend a premiere like that and be celebrated. We're in this business because we're artists and we believe in what we do, and because we want to create art that touches people's hearts and souls and can move people. And that's what we did. That's what you both did. And I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light and love.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge that Blake Lively might owe the entire internet an apology for the emotional roller coaster she's putting everyone through? How do you accuse Justin Baldoni of emotional blackmail while simultaneously dragging millions into collective emotional exhaustion? Make it make sense. And now, here's where it gets good. Justin's lawyer has finally broken his silence, and what he revealed is shocking. Those text messages Blake used to make Justin look like the villain? They weren't fake, but she conveniently cherry-picked only the parts that made her look like the victim. Now the full conversations between Blake and Justin are out. And once you see them, you'll start questioning
evidence
who's actually
for all these
here.
points. There are text messages for all these points. And unlike any case that I've handled in my entire career, it's the one case we're going to put every single text message, every single document, everything on a website for everyone in the public to read, come to their own conclusions, and they can determine whether or not there was harassment here, there was a smear campaign, or there was retaliation, because we have proof and receipts that absolutely and unequivocally show this is.
Honestly, at this point, would anyone even be surprised if Justin Baldoni sued Blake Lively outright? Based on how this mess has been unfolding, we were overdue for another bombshell, and here it is. Justin has now filed a 90-page lawsuit against the New York Times, accusing them of lies, false light, invasion of privacy, promissory fraud, and breach of implied contract. And he didn't come empty-handed. He brought receipts. Full text conversations between him and Blake are now public, and let's just say, it's not looking great for her. But here's where things go off the rails again. Ryan Reynolds and his PR team tried to swoop in and rescue Blake's image. Instead, they ended up exposing Ryan's unnecessary involvement in the whole circus. Why is he even in the middle of this? But before we dive into that disaster, let's rewind. Because this drama is starting to feel like a 10-part Netflix saga. And to understand the chaos now, we need to go back to where it really exploded. This all erupted on New Year's Eve when reports came out that Justin was suing the New York Times over their coverage of Blake's claims. But Blake wasn't about to let that slide. On the same day, she filed her own lawsuit demanding major damages. Yep, she's suing Justin Baldoni, Melissa Nathan, Jennifer AEL, and Wayfair Studios, the company behind It Ends With Us. She's claiming mental anguish, emotional distress, and even lost wages. This isn't a quiet filing. This is a full-on federal case in New York. Blake woke up and chose war, and here's the plot twist. Just days earlier, she filed another case against Justin that she reportedly never intended to take to trial. Legal experts are calling it a nuisance lawsuit, basically a case filed just for optics, not for a real courtroom battle. In a statement to TMZ, Blake's attorney said she filed a federal complaint in response to alleged retaliation from Wayfair after she reported harassment. They claim she spoke out and faced attacks, and now the defendants will face the consequences in court. But there's more. They added that Blake purposely didn't file a traditional lawsuit against Baldoni or the others. Why? To avoid discovery, meaning she wouldn't have to testify under oath or turn over private communications. And according to Justin's team, that was the whole point. They say her complaint was filled with false claims and exaggerations that would have been thrown out, maybe even punished. If it ever went to trial, that'd be why, avoiding real litigation, Blake allegedly pulled off a PR stunt designed to rehabilitate her image while dodging accountability. Here's how she did it. Instead of going all in legally, she filed for a right to sue letter with California's Civil Rights Department. It's basically a procedural move that doesn't require detailed claim, stays confidential unless leaked, which it was, and avoids discovery. It can lead to an actual lawsuit, but according to Justin's lawyers, that was never her intention. They say she wanted the legitimacy of a legal filing purely to push a narrative, grab headlines, and avoid being cross-examined. And who allegedly helped? According to Justin's camp, she teamed up with the New York Times. They rushed to publish her claim before waiting for responses, nearly 2 hours early, making the whole story look one-sided, inaccurate, and stacked against Justin. Now the receipts are out. Justin's team claims Blake manipulated evidence, editing messages to fit her story. They released the full screenshots to prove it. Example: in one group chat, Justin said out of concern, "How can we say somehow that we are not doing any of this? It looks like we are trying to take her down." Melissa and Nathan responded, "It doesn't. They're doing all of this themselves and it's really obvious." But in Blake's version, the same messages were presented as proof of a smear campaign. Another example: Blake cited a Daily Mail article titled, "Is Blake Lively Set to Be Cancelled?" and framed follow-up messages as the group bragging they planted it. Justin's defense says that was completely misleading and stripped of context. Justin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, called out the New York Times directly, saying the entire narrative of a smear campaign depended on a single manipulated exchange, a house of cards built on misrepresentation. And once the full screenshots dropped, that house collapsed. Now add Ryan Reynolds into the mix. His name is being dragged in as someone allegedly helping manage Blake's image. Insiders are already whispering whether his involvement will backfire, because every attempt to frame Blake as the victim is exposing more inconsistencies in her story. Where does that leave things? Justin's team is claiming Blake never intended a real court case. They say she weaponized edited texts and friendly media to shape public perception. But now that the actual conversations are out, the story looks very different. This is no longer just Hollywood gossip. This is a legal chess match, and both sides are moving fast. But if Justin keeps dropping receipts like this, Blake's carefully crafted public image could start cracking fast, because one messy feud is Hollywood drama. But lawsuits, leaked texts, PR cleanup, and a dragged-in husband? That's pure chaos. And something tells me we're only on episode 3.
Case that I've handled in my entire career, it's the one case we're going to put every single text message, every single document, everything on a website for everyone in the public to read, come to their own.
Brian finally sat down with media host Megyn Kelly to clear the confusion, because let's be honest, between the lawsuits, countersuits, and headlines, keeping up with this saga has been a full-time job. And when I say the interview was explosive, I mean jaw-on-the-floor levels of shocking. Brian didn't just show up prepared. He came armed with proof, including actual audio messages from Justin to back up everything he was saying. But the part that left everyone speechless, Justin's jaw-dropping revelation. On the day It Ends With Us premiered, he, along with close friends and family, were allegedly locked in a basement for over an hour, all because Blake supposedly demanded he stay as far away from her movie as possible. The claim was so extreme that even longtime Hollywood insiders didn't know how to process it.
Could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise. I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast. So they ushered me off the carpet and they sent us down to the basement. We were down there together, my friends and family, the people that love me the most, and we start laughing because of the ridiculousness.
It's all starting to come full circle now. And if you remember the rollout of It Ends With Us, the signs were already there. Rumors were flying that the cast and crew were practically staging a silent rebellion against Justin Baldoni. One by one, people unfollowed him like he'd been canceled overnight, and the tension was impossible to ignore. While Justin was left doing promo interviews completely alone, the rest of the team appeared together like a united front, making the whole situation painfully awkward to watch. And now we've learned the truth. It was even uglier behind the scenes. Things reportedly got so toxic that people were literally locked in a basement. But here's the twist. There are people actually defending Blake's behavior. They argue that if she truly believed Justin was harassing her or running a smear campaign, maybe this was her way of fighting back. But Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman, isn't entertaining that excuse for a second. He's coming in strong with evidence that completely flips the narrative on its head.
Who could blame her for wanting him in the basement? What say you?
Let's break down what the sexual harassment is. I mean, we've just, been through the Me Too movement. We've heard all sorts of serious allegations of sexual harassment that are really meaningful to victims and really important and whatnot. Blake Lively, if she was really harassed to such a degree in this film and in this situation, she wouldn't have returned to the film. And they had sat down and they had talked about what her complaints were. The unfortunate thing is she actually didn't read the book and didn't understand what the book.
One of the biggest drags on Blake has always been the fact that she didn't even bother to read It Ends With Us before signing on to star in it. Like, remember that painfully awkward moment when she straight up admitted she didn't even know who Colleen Hoover was? Fans were stunned. How do you lead a whole movie and not know the author behind the story? And if you've actually read the book, you already know it's heavy. We're talking dark, emotional themes that require real understanding to portray. The film already struggled to capture that depth, and apparently Blake's disconnect from the source material spilled right onto the set. Insiders claim her lack of preparation led to constant creative clashes. And get this! Brian Friedman even confirmed in Toro 7 that infamous moment when Blake called a whole meeting just to demand script rewrites and set changes, all to make herself more comfortable.
Get down to the specific allegations. I mean, what this film was about domestic violence. This film was about scenes that involve, rough behavior and domestic violence and serious issues like that. And at every turn, to the extent that Justin, anybody felt uncomfortable in any way on the film, Justin took responsibility.
And trust me, Blake's drama on set didn't stop at not reading the book. She went even further and accused Justin Baldoni of body shaming her, claiming he made comments about her weight. But Justin shut that down quick. He said the only reason he brought up anything physical was because of his own back issues and workout needs, and the crew backed him up. His trainer was literally on set the whole time, but Blake didn't stop there. She escalated it even more, accusing Justin of inappropriate behavior, saying he barged into her trailer while she was pumping breast milk and even made comments about her looks. Sounds serious, right? Except Justin came with receipts. In one of the texts, Blake is the one inviting him into her trailer to rehearse lines while she was pumping. The contradictions are wild, and now everyone's side-eyeing the entire situation, wondering what really went down. Anyway, back to Friedman.
Ryan Reynolds' house in New York. They went over a 17-point list of things. They had come to an agreement, although Justin and Jamie did not agree that these things, that were, spoken about were warranted at all. They said, well, of course we won't come into your trailer when, if you don't want us to. Of course we won't do these things. And they're really simple concepts and simple things. And even in their own complaint, they admit that ever since they met in January, that everything ran smoothly for the rest.
So during the interview, Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. She went straight for Brian Friedman with all the explosive claims Blake laid out in her complaint. According to Blake, there was this whole two-part scheme going on behind the scenes. First, she says there was an effort to cover up Justin Baldoni's so-called harassment and misconduct, along with whatever his partner Heath and their company Wayfarer Studios were allegedly doing. And second, she claims there was a full-on smear campaign launched against her. Blake said this campaign destroyed her image, hurt her businesses, and even took an emotional toll on her family. But Megan, being Megan, broke it down piece by piece. She pointed out that covering up misconduct might not technically be illegal, but it definitely looks shady, especially when you're trying to launch a film and avoid bad press. But the real legal punch in Blake's complaint was her retaliation claim. She basically said that the moment she spoke up about harassment, Justin and his team went after her with everything they had. And Friedman's response to that? Yeah, that part was very interesting.
That, the complaints are things like he had gone into her trailer when she was breastfeeding, to which there are text messages that address that. There were complaints that Jamie Heath, Justin's partner, had shown pornography. If you look at the actual complaint that they filed, it says that that's pornography. What Jamie Heath showed her was a still video of a home birth because they were discussing a scene about birthing. And that's not really no allegation of sexual harassment until the lawsuit was filed. I mean, that's when the allegations of sexual harassment.
According to Justin Baldoni's legal team, Blake didn't bring up any of these allegations while the movie was being made, or even during its rollout. It was only months later, when her business started tanking and the negative press caught up with her, that she suddenly came forward with all these claims.
Crisis PR was brought in because there were negative stories about Justin that were being leaked to the media, not about sexual harassment. There were negative stories about Justin being brought in saying no one likes him. He's been a problem on set, stories like that. And Crisis PR was brought in to say, this won't be good for the film. Crisis PR was also brought in because there were negative stories about Blake Lively, not that Justin created, but that existed out there. I mean, fans and media can be brutal. They go back through your history. They go back and look and say, what interviews have you given before? How have you treated people? How, are you promoting the film in a way where you're promoting your hair care?
Blake is not walking away from this one anytime soon, because let's be real. Who thought launching a hair care line at the exact moment she should have been promoting It Ends With Us was a smart move? Whoever greenlit that strategy was not doing her any favors. And then came the cringe moment. Blake telling women to throw on florals and head to theaters like it was some lighthearted rom-com. Instead of boosting her image, the whole rollout backfired and tanked her reputation. Now Justin Baldoni's team is all over it, claiming she's only stirring up wild accusations because things fell apart after filming and she's desperate to shift the spotlight off her own mess.
What he wants is a successful movie. He wants to protect the movie, and all through the text messages you'll see over and over and over again him saying, I don't want to hurt her. I want to protect her. Let's give her what she wants. Let's help her.
And just when you think the drama couldn't get any messier, it absolutely does. Justin's camp isn't treating Blake's accusations as her speaking her truth. They're calling it a calculated power grab to hijack the entire film. According to Justin, Blake turned a project she didn't even direct into her own personal playground, allegedly taking over everything: the soundtrack, the wardrobe, the editing, the entire aesthetic. And here's the wild part. She reportedly pressured the studio to release her version of the movie, even though Justin's cut tested better with audiences. But before she could celebrate what she thought was a win, a viral video dropped and completely flipped the narrative against her.
Clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have.
Well,
thank goodness.
You were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you seen
that.
this?
I actually just saw it too. It was on Instagram yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that romance is really important. You're supposed to, tell a story.
So the clip you just watched, yeah, that was Blake Lively looking visibly uncomfortable as the interviewer casually brought up how she allegedly tried to coach Justin Baldoni into being more physically affectionate with her on set. even though the production literally had trained intimacy coordinators for that exact reason. Not a great look, especially now that the tables have completely turned with Justin countersuing her, and with the internet already side-eyeing Blake's motives, the whispers are only getting louder. Some people are even speculating she might have had unresolved feelings for Justin, or worse, that she tried to sabotage his entire career simply because he didn't reciprocate her energy. Messy doesn't even begin to cover it, but hold up, because it gets even wilder. Ryan Reynolds enters the chat. At first, fans thought he was just collateral damage in all this, but nope. Once people realized just how involved he actually was with the film, the sympathy evaporated. Folks are calling him out for overstepping and inserting himself way too deep into Blake's work. And that old clip where Blake laughed about Ryan editing a scene behind Justin's back without Justin or even the screenwriter knowing. Yeah, that aged like milk in the sun.to make it worse. Ryan stood right next to Blake promoting a domestic violence-centered drama like it was some quirky date night rom-com, and people were furious. The internet's verdict? This couple couldn't read the room if their careers depended on it. And now, the backlash is brutal. Social media is saying no one ruins Blake Lively's image quite like Blake Lively herself. They're dragging her for shading co-stars, giving reporters attitude, and even taking swipes at Princess Kate. But let's be fair, Justin isn't exactly getting sainthood treatment either. His leaked PR messages rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, fueling the so-called anti-Baldoni battalion. Still, Justin's not folding. He's making it clear that no amount of smear campaigns, lawsuits, or blacklisting is going to shake him. He says he didn't get into this industry for fame or box office numbers. He does it for storytelling and the impact it leaves on people's lives. All right, babes, that's the scoop for now. But I need to know, are you Team Blake, Team Justin, or just Team Truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this saga is way too chaotic to stay silent about. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay locked in, because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that the drama never really ends. Until next time,